Boys, welcome back to the channel. Got an absolute banger video, even a highly requested video on the channel, how to fast track your muscle growth. If you're anyone who's like me, who struggled to do it, and you want these results right here, I'm going to break down the format. It's literally going to save years off your life. So guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to break down a technique called progressive overload, how we're going to use it, how to use it effectively, how we're going to optimize the results. It's a full value packed video. I'm going to give everything you need after watching this, and like I said, the high value per second. If you guys are new, you haven't been to the channel, welcome back. And we're going to essentially break it down to three key components. One, what is progressive load? Does it even work? How are we going to go about it? What are the essential frameworks we're going to use? I'm going to break that down in full detail. Point two, how to use it effectively. Guys, there's certain frameworks and structures. No, guys, you can't do only 12 reps for every time you do a lift, or essentially doing the 2 to 3 frameworks to build a muscle quick. That's not how it works. I'm going to break down the frameworks and how you essentially could use it at lightning speed. And point number three, guys, is the ability to optimize these workouts effectively once we use these frameworks, and how we're actually going to optimize our workouts to stimulate at a quicker speed. It's a full value packed video, guys. I want to give you to y'all. I want to give you the blueprint, and it could literally save years off your life if you do it the right way. So guys, let's break down point number one. What is progressive overload? Progressive overload, guys, is the essentially to build muscle over time. And if we could use it the right way, we can honestly build our frame a lot better, a lot quicker, and a lot faster, to keep it short. Because guys, I've essentially tried everything and it just didn't work for me until I learned this technique. And this technique literally fast tracked my growth to look like this aesthetic physique over here. And this is the ability to use progressive overload, but effectively. So when we talk about progressive overload, it's the ability to build muscle over time. But in regards to how we do this, it's all about our training and how we optimize our workout. Like I said, I'm going to break this down to a 3-step system, but we need to understand what the emphasis is. And we need to make sure we're essentially doing it the right way. And that is essentially making sure we build continuous muscle over time in regards to how we train. And the way we train is effectively to making sure our training splits align with the amount of days we go. If we go look about how many days we go, so we have a 3-day split, a 4, and then a 5 or 6. I'm going to break down exactly what splits you need to do with what day and how it's going to stimulate more growth. And that's how this goes into training frequency, which then funnels into the rest of the information as I mentioned earlier. But guys, in order for, we need to make sure we're actually doing the right stuff to honestly start our workouts and structure our weeks. And that all starts by essentially having a goal in mind. We need to understand what is our goal. Once we understand that concept, we need to understand we're aligning our training split with the days we're going. So a good framework I like to use is making sure when we go around 3 days per week, we're doing a full body workout. 4 days per week in upper and lower body workout, and 5 or 6 days per week, we're doing a push-pull leg split and Arnold split. This essentially gives us the ability to increase our training frequency. And a lot of people are like, what the hell is a training frequency? I'm going to break that down. Training frequency is the ability to hit the muscle group multiple times per week, which then increases the growth in the exertion of the muscle to grow back. Essentially, you guys, when you work out, you're going to split the muscle apart and it grows back quicker. As you can hit the muscle groups more time per week, it allows you to stimulate more growth. And then essentially just doing a bicep day, a tricep day, a chest day, a back day. Guys, trust me, that's not the way to do it. So guys, what we're essentially going to do is take what I mentioned earlier, the 3, 4, 5, 6 days, whatever days you're going, and correlate with those splits. Once we do that, that gives us the ability to increase, the training frequency, because that essentially allows us to hit the muscle group multiple times, which then increases how many times you're actually going to train, which then essentially gives us the ability to hit the muscle groups more times per week, and then of course stimulate more growth. And that is essentially the most important part about it, is the ability to of course hit these muscle groups. It's going to allow us to stimulate more growth. And if we use the other frameworks I'm actually going to break down after, it's going to literally expedite our growth by years, guys, because essentially if you're doing the ability to only train the muscle group 1 or 2 times per week, it's not as quick because you're not hitting that muscle group more times per week. And essentially, if we use certain frameworks I'm going to mention below, that kind of funnels into a compound lifts, which is a good point I want to touch on because it aligns with our training frequency. Compound lifts, guys, is the ability to hit multiple muscle groups simultaneously. So a big perception change that a lot of people think is when you do a bench press, it does not only hit your chest, it hits your chest, your shoulders, your triceps, your core, multiple muscle groups simultaneously. So if we can increase our training frequency, as I said with the training splits before, with increasing amount of compound lifts, now we're actually having the ability to hit more muscle groups. So maybe from 1 to 2, we're going 3 to 4. You guys see how it kind of compounds over time. And if you compound this from days to weeks, weeks to months, months to years, forget about it, guys. You're going to literally fast track your growth by years because, guys, that is the ability to literally put the muscle over full exertion. But of course, you're going to take your rest days. Obviously, if you go like a 3, 4, 5, even 6 days, your rest and recovery is extremely important. You're sleeping 8 hours. You're getting adequate amounts of water, 3 to 5 water bottles per day, and you're just making sure you're doing, maybe low intensity workouts, so it's not a stress on the muscles, essentially for them to grow back bigger and to really have optimal energy. So that is progressive overload in a nutshell. Now let's talk into point number 2. How are we going to do this effectively? If you're a beginner, if you're an expert, What is the right way to go about this? So guys, in order to go about this, we need to make sure we operate in certain rep range. So guys, I'm going to break this down into two components: our compound lifts and our isolation lifts. Your bench press, your back squat, your overhead shoulder press, your barbell row, all this stuff that gives you the ability to hit multiple muscle groups simultaneously. And we're going to start our workouts with these, and then from these we're going to operate in a rep range anywhere from 6 to 9 reps. Once we hit 9 consistently, what we're going to do is increase the weight. Reps are going to decrease. You're going to rinse and repeat over time to build muscle. Same thing for isolation movements. What essentially, if we're not too familiar with isolation movement, it's the ability to hit a subgroup of the muscle group. So say essentially you're hitting your shoulder and maybe you want to hit your front delt. That's a subgroup of the muscle group. And what we're going to essentially do is operate from 10 to 12 reps. And once we hit 12 consistently, we're going to increase the weight. Reps are going to decrease, rinse and repeat over time to essentially build muscle continuously. And when we do those frameworks, where we align our training splits with our training days, increase our training frequency, and structure it with compound and essentially isolation lifts to hit the muscle continuously and structure our workouts effectively. And now we're talking about the essentials to actually build muscle a lot quicker than a lot of people essentially do, is because you're actually formatting your workout for success. You're doing the right stuff to literally yield the output you want. But it all relies on continuous input. You guys, you're not going to see the results in days or weeks. You can see great results, don't get me wrong, but it's about how you compound these results. And if you can compound these results effectively using this framework, even as a beginning or expert, it all comes down to this. And the way you're going to do this, guys, is by continuously tracking your data. Continuously tracking data, because guys, I know we all have those moments like, well, how many reps did you do last time? I think I did 4. When realistically, you probably did 1 or 2. Or essentially, you think you did 8 and you probably did 3. You make sure you track your data, because then you can go back and see if you're operating those rep ranges. And if you're not, that means essentially you're not doing the right frameworks in order to build muscle. And that's how you really stimulate dead growth, and which essentially you're just not doing anything to grow, and you're just being lazy essentially. So don't do that way. Everyone does that. Just do it right way. If you got to write down your forehead, I don't give a shit. You write down your chest, a piece of paper, an Excel sheet, I don't care. Just make sure you're tracking your data, training software, whatever is best for you. And it's going to allow you to build muscle effectively, and just make sure you're staying on point. And essentially, guys, now we're going to funnel into point number 3, which is tracking this data, but how to do it effectively. So guys, in order for you to track this data, of course, you need to be operating this rep ranges. Of course, the 6 to 9 reps for compound lifts and 10 to 12 reps for isolation lifts. If you're essentially not seeing growth with the progressive overload techniques, and you get hit those, I'm in this progress plateaus, or my muscles are staying stagnant. Very common. I'm going to give you a few examples, because we have to use our data to understand this. If we're not tracking our data, we don't know essentially if we're hitting these progress plateaus or we're getting stagnant growth. So once we understand that, okay, now we're tracking our data, we get the hang of it, and you're going to go through points. It's inevitable, guys. You're just not going to see growth. Maybe you're not getting stronger. You're not getting, essentially seeing the results you want. Your physique staying the same. All this different stuff, these questions you're asked. And guys, the way we're essentially going to go about this is use a variation technique. And this is the ability to honestly hit the same muscle group at the same point, but a different variation of it. So a good example, because I know everyone likes to hear examples, because it kind of hits a nail on the head essentially. So think about like your bench press, guys. Everyone thinks, okay, like my bench press, guys, that hits my chest, but as we mentioned, it hits multiple muscle groups. But the emphasis is you're not seeing your weight increase in your bench press. All right, so what's a different way we can hit the same muscle group but a variation of it? Let's look at a Smith machine bench press. Let's look at dumbbells. Let's look at a machine-based press. And then what you're essentially going to do is swap this exercise in for the bench press based off your data that you tracked, as I mentioned earlier. Like everything is said, guys, everything's a staircase. You need to use the entire formula to get effective results. And if you do that and you switch out certain exercises, even for your isolation lift, maybe for your front, for your front ladder, or if you're doing dumbbells and maybe you want to switch to cables, same thing, but a different variation of the muscle group that you're hitting. Because guys, everyone you're hitting, like, think about it like this, you're hitting that muscle group that you said, like your front lat, but a different variation stimulates new growth. And it's all about confusing the muscle. If you're doing the same things, essentially, your muscle is going to get used to it. And when you get muscle memory, of course, it just stays stagnant. So you always need to change. Maybe you want to change the structure of your workouts. There's certain exercise doing to literally confuse the muscle, because once you confuse the muscle, you can stimulate new growth based off the variation techniques. So guys, it all funnels down to essentially making sure that you're tracking your data, and of course you understand progressive overload effectively. It's like essentially like a tripod. If you honestly kick out one leg, then it's not going to work. You have to essentially use all 3 parts to make sure you get effective results and literally speedline your timeline to success, because you're doing everything optimal. You're tracking results. Because like I said, I've unlocked sick results doing this stuff. And guys, I've started from here, as you guys saw. So make sure you do this stuff the right way. I'm just giving you something that's a little down the line, because I wish I honestly saw this video for my younger self, because it would have speedlined my timeline to success a lot quicker than honestly doing the arrogant approaches of maybe doing rep range I think worked, relying on memory when that's not the case. It literally just is inaccurate results, and essentially just not providing effective tactics I know would honestly give me the results I want if I honestly just put the work in. So make sure you put the work in, make sure you do stuff the right way. It's going to seem tedious, it's going to seem annoying, but if you know how to do this stuff, if you know how to do it effectively, it's a compounded skill set to get down the road. Maybe essentially you want to bulk again and then cut. It's all about essentially learning skill sets, and everything's a versatile skill set. Once you can learn one thing, you can then apply it to other aspects of your training, and just unlocks things you couldn't see before. And you literally see how your body adapts to this stuff over time. Because like I said, guys, certain exercises, you're not going to feel the perfect mind muscle connection or the time under attention concepts. You're going to use different variation techniques to maybe feel it a lot better, and that's going to help stimulate more growth. So again, guys, I hope this video was valuable. Like I said, I try and make these videos very quick, effective, and give you the information you need to build effective results. Because guys, I've achieved it. I've got the results I wanted, and I want to give you guys the same concept too, not only enhance your results, but to make it into a lifestyle that you generally enjoy. So again, guys, thank you for watching another video on the channel. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you give me a thumbs up or you smash that like button. That really helps me grow the channel and honestly, give people the ability to literally unlock their dream body. As you guys can see, I've done it all. I've tried it all, and I want you guys to get the effective results that actually work. I don't want you guys to waste time. It's literally just like, why? Why would you do that if you have the right information? So this is the right information. But guys, always remember that it's literally, you can learn everything, but it all comes down to applied action. If you're not applying the action, it's literally mental masturbation, productive procrastination, or essentially where you think you're doing productive work, but you're not acting on it. So make sure you act on it, and then you see more stuff that you couldn't see before, all because you actually saw and took action based off, the stuff you learned today. So guys, make sure you check out the IG over here. It literally is a framework of how I use fitness to literally live my dream life, because guys, I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I literally give you in time stuff that I use every single day, how it incorporates my mindset, my development, being my best self and being the man I always wanted, literally everything, by literally just incorporating fitness and using these frameworks that are very versatile skill sets. So make sure you check that out. I try to give you everything I have on, of course, the IG, because I know how powerful the platform is, and I want to give you guys everything I know. So again, guys, thank you for watching another great video on the channel, and we'll go ahead and see you in the next one.